Now, should you be worried? I don't know. But unfortunately, for every single guy out there, the guy that every woman fantasizes about is. Alright, guys, this is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about the dark truth about the types of things that women fantasize about when men are not looking, okay? And this is something that could come across as some good news or some bad news, depending on how you see it, right? Because let's talk about this, right? We're gonna talk about how women fantasize compared to men, why people fantasize. Why women fantasize. Who do women fantasize about? What are the archetypes that women fantasize about? Okay, and other statistical stats that a lot of scientists have gathered up through research and through surveys. Okay, because look, when women fantasize, the difference between what women fantasize compared to men is that they think about the emotional quality of the person. They think about more about the personality of the man, right? Depending on how a woman would choose to fantasize about you, will depend on how she views you. So the fantasies that women have, for the most part, are emotional fantasies mixed in with the physicalness. And even when it's a physical fantasy, they usually talk about it from a deeper experience. It's not as superficial as a man is. For example, when a man fantasizes about banging a woman, they pretty much think about a dick and the poom poom, right? When a woman fantasizes about a man and having sex with her, she doesn't just fantasize about the sex. She fantasizes about they describe it in ways that say like his blood was, I could feel his blood surging on his dick. You know, that type of stuff. They go deep. They be like, I could feel his heart pumping on top of me. Like they talk about the inner experience of fantasies. Guys say she had a round ass, them titties were flopping, that type of stuff, right? It's completely different. Remember, fantasies usually center around what sex looks like in a mate, right? In other words, men focus on fertility in a woman, which is all superficial. The signs of fertility are completely superficial. It has nothing to do with personality. Personality has something to do how you raise a child, right? But that's why men usually focus on the superficiality with casual sex and on personality with long term, right? Women focus on resources and the protection of the resources, because what women value is protecting their child and giving their child as much resources as possible. So women fantasize about being with alphas and men who are aggressors, who are also competent, right? Alpha male who are aggressive and competent. That is the fantasies that women typically have, right? That it centers around that, and with a mix of sensitivity. So women generally have this fantasy of a super masculine man with feminine qualities. So remember, your personality and your masculinity has a lot to do with how women fantasize about you. If they don't respect you, they won't fantasize about you. They'll fantasize about banging their Tyrone, the personal trainer, or banging the Jamal, the running back, Jake, the quarterback, right? But they won't think about you. Okay, so why do people fantasize? Well, there's a survey that was done that talked about this actually, and I'm gonna tell you what they are. 69% of the people fantasize, and this is all based on a survey that was done, because they're curious about different sexual experiences and sensations, right? Women generally fantasize because they want to experience different types of sex, okay? But maybe they can't do that because of culture, but they do it because it's a way to release it. It's a way to get out of to escape reality in a way, which is kind of makes sense. The second one is to meet unfulfilled sexual needs, which is 59% of the people. 3, to temporarily escape reality, and 4, to express or fulfill socially taboo sexual desires, which is 58%. All right, so that's why people generally fantasize. Now, who do women fantasize about for the most part? They usually, let me give you guys what I know for sure, is that a lot of times when you meet a woman who's not over their exes, for example, if you're dating a woman and you're on the rebound and she's on the rebound, and you kind of look like her ex who hurt her, I can promise you she's gonna have moments where she thinks she's fucking tripping and she's fucking her ex. She's gonna imagine banging her ex, especially if you look like him. It's just what it is, right? Women generally, a lot of times, fantasize about banging their exes when they're having sex with you. Now, that's not all though. Let's look at let's read an article that talks about this, right? Who women fantasize about. So it says, is your female colleague fantasizing about you? Half of women think about other people during sex with their partners, and it's usually men from their office, and also a lot of times it's men also who live next to them. You gotta understand, you pretty much will marry people who will live the closest to you. All right. Proximity is one of the biggest determining factors of the people who you're gonna end up marrying. So you have a higher likelihood of dating your neighbor more than dating somebody from the Bronx, dating somebody from Queens, right? The closer you live, the more likelihood you are to have sex with them. And also, the closer you live, the more likely a woman's gonna fantasize about you, and you may not even know it. They're creepy like that. A new study has revealed couples' habits when it comes to sexual fantasies. 46% of women and 42% of men think about somebody else in bed. That, I can promise you it's more, okay? Get the fuck out of here, 42% of men. Survey found we tend to fantasize about an ex, close friend, or colleague. Almost half of women have admitted to thinking about another man while they were making love with their partners. The research found that 46% of women and 42% of men have secretly thought about third-party sex during sex. And for many women, the fantasy figure is close to home, with the majority picturing a close friend or work colleague. Right? That's why, look, the truth is that with your girl, you should never trust anybody, not even your close friends. I mean, I hope my friends don't try to bang my girl, right? But I know that for a fact that they shouldn't trust. You shouldn't trust your friends when it comes to your girl. It's just, and the reason why is because it's just male nature. You know, it's just male nature. It's like it's difficult, but it is what it is. Just under a third, 30%, and a quarter of men have had sex with the person they have previously fantasized about. It's actually kind of fun doing that. I'm not gonna lie. So 30% of the times, women will follow through on their fantasies, I suppose. Some 26% of women and 22% of men have also had sex with a work colleague they have lusted over. So if you notice, 26% of the women have done it and 22% of the men have done it. In other words, women usually are banging the same dude a lot of the times. You see what I'm saying? It's usually they're after the same guy. And I believe those numbers are higher with the women, to be honest with you. Because women lie about that shit all the time. Because women are always trying to protect their chastity. The results are revealed in the survey of 1,300 people by the sex toy brand Lovehoney. It found that 1 in 5 women, 20%, and 11% of men have fantasized about having sex with their boss. And many times the fantasies weren't just innocent, but a harbinger of things to come, as 8% of the women and 2% of the men have gone the whole hog and betted the boss who they fancied, right? If you notice, remember we talked about they want a man who's competent, they want the alpha male, right? They want a man with experience. And usually if you're a boss, you have some type of aggression to you, right? You don't just become a boss. You gotta have some testosterone. Well, sometimes you do have your wimp bosses, but you know what I'm saying. So it kind of also proves to me that that being the leader, pretty much something that I talk about a lot on this channel, being the leader actually gets you poom poom for the most part. You become a source of fantasy by being the boss. The study found that 70% of the women and 63% of men also fantasize about what sex will be like when they go into a relationship with a new partner before they go to bed, right? So the good thing is that women will fantasize about the people who they're trying to bang, right? I don't want the 30% of women that don't fantasize about having sex with me before it happens. The new lover lives up to expectations. 62% of women. That leaves 38% of the women who are let down. Oh well, men are men are a little easier to please when they have sex with a woman. Okay, we own that. We know that. Um, in order to curb their disappointment, plenty of lovers relive former glories in their head while they're having sex with their current partners. The survey found that is very true, right? So if you got some weak dick game, if your pipe game is not good, what a woman would do to deal with your lack of pipe game, she'll fantasize about banging Tyrone, the personal trainer. 6 out of 10 men and women say they have sometimes done this, and 15% of men and 14% of women say they do it often. A third of women and 42% of men say that they sometimes fantasize about having sex again with their first love or romantic partners. All this fantasizing about past love is seen as harmless fun by 60% of the women and 66% of men, whereas more than a third of both sexes reckon this does feel like cheating. They don't say shit about it. Shut the fuck up. Don't wake up one day and say, "Baby, I banged your friend in my dreams," because you gotta confess. Like, you know, like it's crazy. Lots of people reminisce fondly about former lovers. It is perfectly harmless thing to do as long as you are not intent on living out that fantasy, right? Which is very interesting. Okay. So that's what we have right there, right? And by the way, before we continue, just let you guys know we have a course that we sell. Oh shit! Oh, sorry about this. We have a course that we sell for men, which is called Dark Game. It's a course that teaches you all of the strategies that I know to meet and attract women. I pretty much teach you some, dark strategies, which is, not morally correct. But I'm a fan of psychology, so I pretty much just learn everything for the sake of it. And unfortunately, this also works with attracting women. I'm not saying you're gonna get all of the women in the world, but this will increase your likelihood to not creep them out. So go check it out. It's only $99, and you can check it out for free. And if you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. Okay. So yeah, let's continue. So now that we got that, right? So who do women fantasize? Now let's talk about the male archetypes of the men that women fantasize about. And the number one male archetype is Edward from New Moon. I don't fucking know what the hell that movie is. The werewolf type motherfucker. And the reason why women fantasize about this guy is because, one, he looks young, but also he's 100 years old, over 100 years old. So he's young and wise. So he has competence, he has wisdom. He's a true alpha male. He pretty much beats up any dude in school who messes with his girl. He's desired by other women, but he doesn't consummate the relationship. So he doesn't give them satisfaction. But he also is disinterested. Women pretty much go crazy over this male archetype because he's a strong masculine man who also has a dark side and is also kind of like effeminate in a way. He kind of looks effeminate in a weird way. And women fantasize about that type of guy, and those fantasies say a lot about what women like. And understand, this doesn't mean this is what women like biologically, because women's sexuality is the most, I could say, outside of our brain, is the most malleable thing out there. Women's sexuality is more malleable than a man's sexuality. In fact, they show studies where they pretty much make women see different types of sex acts, and they tell the women if they're turned on, but they're also have a machine that pretty much assesses whether or not they're turned on down there. Like they can see how wet they are, pretty much. And they show that, for example, they show women, a man and a man having sex. They'll ask if they're turned on, and they'll say I'm not turned on. But then down there, it looks like they're turned on, right? Their reproductive system is turned on, right? They'll see a dog and a dog, or like with animals, and they'll say I'm not turned on. But deep down, when they look at it, when they look down there, they're turned on. They'll see a woman and a woman, and she'll say I'm kind of turned on. But then when they look down there, it'll look like they're completely turned on. So it looks like women have this complete disconnect with their bodies in a weird way. And the reason why that is, and it's why a lot of women, when they get, unfortunately, when they're getting, like forced to have sex with a man, a lot of women will not like it, but their vaginas will actually get wet, right? And they were like, and I bet people think, oh, it's because they like it deep down, but it's like, no, it's actually an involuntary response. It's like a dude looking at boobs. It just happens. Like, you just look. Like, women, that's why women are flexible. So it's kind of like, if they get into a culture where a man could take it, I don't know, it's almost like all they need, like, it's almost like, how can I say this? A woman will be more, if a woman lives in a culture where it's common for women to be with women, it's almost like their biology is kind of adapted to anything. But a man, if a man sees another man kissing another man, their dick is not going to get hard, even though they say, I'm not turned on. You see what I'm trying to say? So women are just more malleable in that regard. But so yeah, that's a male archetype. A woman will fantasize about an Edward type of guy, particularly those types of celebrities. Another one that women have is Jason Momoa. And the reason why Jason Momoa is more of the phenotype of him: big, strong, masculine man, big chin. And in the show Game of Thrones, he was a big warlord who protected his wife, right? All of those things, a guy who is an alpha male, but also a provider, and a man who's dangerous to other men except his wife. Those types of things, which is very rare in a man, to be honest with you, are what women fantasize about. So they pretty much want a man with status and fame. In other words, if you notice, the most desirable men in the world are not random Joe who's a fucking mechanic. Like, you don't see top sexiest man alive, but you don't see fucking Bob the Builder, right? You don't see Tyrone the fucking carpenter, right? You usually see Brad Pitt. You usually see people who are famous and have status. And those are the men who women fantasize about. I mean, it's just what it is, right? And they also fantasize about aggressive men, for the most part. Aggression, right? So, let's talk about another article that was very interesting right here, okay? 62% of women confess to fantasizing about this man, right? Let me show you this. Right here, okay. Thinks she might be cheating. You might find her next door. 62% of women have fantasized about cheating with their neighbor, according to a recent survey. And like I said, proximity. For the survey, extramarital dating site polled 8,000 of its members. They found that 31% of the site's female members have had an actual affair with their neighbors. Okay. About 60% of their affairs were one-night stands, which is very interesting right here. Which it shows you that women are the initiators of the one-night stand, because I could promise you that neighbor could have kept fucking her if he wanted to. I mean, I could promise you that neighbor would have wanted to keep fucking her. But a lot of women would just bang you once and leave. Why? Because it was just a fantasy. She wanted to fulfill a sexual fantasy and then just leave you. That's just how it is. However, 14% of women reported extending them several weeks, right? So it went down from 60, and out of those 60 dude, out of those 6 dude, let's just say it was 6 out of 10, right? Only 1.4 stayed. And out of a few weeks, okay, and only 6% stay more than a year. Isn't that crazy? That's insane. That shows you, not completely, but this shows you that a lot of times women go through a lot of partners. Like, because this is one of men's biggest complaints, is that most women just have sex with them once and leave. And the reason why that is because they're just banging a lot of dudes, bro. Like, it's nothing personal, especially if you meet them online. So, should you be worried about the guy next door? No, not so fast. Not so fast. Most women fantasize about other men, according to Sheck studies. That's because fantasies are a way for her to switch things up sexually while still being faithful to you. This is why men jack off also, to deal with their sexual frustrations. Human beings are aroused by novelty and newness. It's part of our anthropological mission to spread our seed. Sexual fantasies let her create the newness in her head rather than in her bed. In fact, fantasies are the number one thing that helps monogamy survive long term. Right? It's very important. Um, Sexual fantasy is also one of the reasons why men don't go around banging every woman out there with their consent. Like, if men were not able to let go of their sexual frustration, you will have a lot of crimes. Now, most men will control themselves, but I'm just saying there's going to be a higher likelihood of men out there who will commit those crimes. But it is what it is. I mean, it's almost like saying just because you're super poor, that means you're going to commit more crime. It's like, no, but when you're really desperate, you do some crazy shit, unfortunately. You should know, because you probably fantasize just as much than she does. 71% of guys admit to dreaming about a sensual moment with their neighbors. Oh, that's a fact. Oh, that's a fact. Plus, according to a study from University of Vermont, 98% of guys imagine having sex with someone besides their partner, and the 2% of the guys who said no are lying, pretty much. Bottom line, they're fucking lying. Bottom line, just because a person might be thinking about having sex with someone doesn't mean they're going to act on it. Your best bet, turn up the heat. Fantasy is one way. Here are 20 more ways you could keep her satisfied. Shut the fuck up. So those are the things that women fantasize about for the most part. It's just they think about banging celebrities, especially masculine celebrities. They don't think about, if they do fantasize about effeminate dudes, it's usually her dominating the guy. But also, women also want to be dominated more often than not. So, those are the things that women fantasize about. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was very interesting reading these types of things and reading the types of guys that women fantasize about. And also, they fantasize about banging celebrities such as athletes for the most part, because athletes pretty much are the pinnacle of short-term sexual partners. Fit, famous, good genes, good genetics, perfect candidates for banging and banging on the side for the most part. They don't make good long-term partners though, which is unfortunate for the athletes, because they also have hearts, and they also deep down they also want to find somebody who loves them for them. It's their biggest insecurity, to be honest with you. We gotta learn to have empathy for everybody. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what other female fantasies you think I missed out on, and I'll make the next video. Take care.
Okay, so if you consider yourself a nice guy, if you're the type of person that always gets played by women, is considered like a mama's boy, or you like assertiveness, or you've been bullied when you were a little kid, and so you develop some nice guy's tendencies, then I would highly recommend you check out my new course, Nice Guy. It's specifically made for just nice people in general. I'm a nice guy. I was a nice guy. I was a Bible teacher, for God's sake. I was a Bible teacher. It doesn't get any more nicer than that, okay? So in this course, I will teach you about the art of assertiveness. And if you just learn to become more assertive in a healthy and non-toxic way, what will happen is that men will respect you and women will bang you for the most part, okay? As long as women respect you and see you as a man, that's all that matters. So this course is more about how to embrace your masculine side. If a guy watches this, he'll embrace his masculine side. If a woman watches this, they'll embrace their feminine. This is a course specifically made to bring out your assertive self in a healthy way. So you're gonna learn about the source of human aggression. You're gonna learn about how to assert yourself in terms of in a work situation, what to do if somebody disrespects you, how to know if somebody is disrespecting you or not. Because when you're a nice person, you assume that everybody has good intentions. So you can check out all of this. It's a pretty big course, but the size of the course, it doesn't matter. You can check out all of this for just $99. And if you don't like it, just ask for your money back, and I'll send you your money back. No questions asked. Not one time in my career have I ever rejected somebody's refund. So if you don't like it, it's a money back guarantee. This is the equivalent of buying a sneaker. Okay, it's a really good investment. So I'll see you guys inside. It's a 30-day money back guarantee, and you will not regret it, because after this course, you will learn how to become more assertive, and women will stop playing you. It's plain and simple, and that's all that matters. I'll see you guys inside.